after you get divorced and you have formal court orders that speak to, your custodial rights with your kids, you might be wondering, what are my rights related specifically to education decisions about my kids? Generally, if you have joint legal and joint physical custody, you have, equal rights to make education decisions for your kids. The problem is, even if you have equal rights, right? If you and your ex don't reach agreements, where do you go from there? So when you both have equal decision making authority about where your kid's going to go to school and you can't reach agreements, that's when you might want to involve, a family law attorney to kind of help you through that. Oftentimes, we're able to negotiate a deal related to where your kid's going to go to school, even if you haven't been able to do that with your ex. But if you and your ex are really kind of not reaching agreements and you don't think we're going to be able to negotiate something, that's where we it might need to be escalated to it for a judge to make decisions about where your kid should go to school. And we'll be asking you a bunch of questions. Why is this a hot topic? Is your child having some sort of special need diagnosis by the IEP where your child needs to be in some special school? Or sometimes you might believe your child's having some issues, but your ex won't agree to let your child go through this IEP process or see someone and get diagnosed, and you kind of know your child needs more support, but you're not sure kind of how to go about doing this if your ex won't agree, right? And that's sometimes an issue where we might want to involve more of the court process in order to help figure this out for you. And this is also a situation where we might want to do a child custody evaluation. A child custody evaluator's job is to kind of speak to those people that have been helping your kid and speak to you and speak to your ex and kind of understand more of the nuances of what's going on with your child to figure out what school is best for your child. And often we can have the evaluator do a very specific analysis just based on what school is best for your child, as long as that school is local to where you and your ex are still living. If you're thinking the school, you're thinking of moving or something like that, and moving the child's school, maybe it's a boarding school or something like that, some kind of therapeutic boarding school. If you have a teenager with special needs, there's the whole gamut of different school options, right? That kind of makes a difference as far as what process we choose. But choosing your child's school or choosing to change your child's school can be a super stressful decision for you to make on its own, right? Even if you weren't divorced and dealing with your ex, it's already stressful and scary to think about your kid having some kind of issue and not getting the support he or she needs from school. And that's a lot for you to already handle. So then to have to handle figuring out how to navigate this while your ex won't agree with you on what to do, that's for us to handle, not for you to handle. That's for us to kind of take off your plate. So if you're kind of dealing with this and wondering how can I maybe get sole decision making authority over my kid's school because my ex is just not understanding what's best for my kid, and he or she is blocking my ability to get my kid into the right school, and he or she is just not submitting those the information I need in the school applications, don't go ahead and secretly submit these applications without your ex's knowing. Don't do anything underhanded. Just come talk to us and let us kind of help guide you so we do this the right way the first time. Family law is a very subjective kind of court, right? Our main priority, as well as getting orders that are best for your kids, is making sure the judge likes you, right? We want the judge to like you and trust you and see you as a great parent. So don't do anything kind of underhanded to try to strategically get your kid into school before you talk to us first. We want to do everything kind of above ground and, everything that so the judge sees that you've done everything possible to do what's best for your kid, and your ex just won't play ball, and we really need the judge's help to do what's best for your kid. So it's all kind of in the nuance, right? And kind of how everything is done in order for the judge and maybe a child custody evaluator to truly understand, what's really best for your kid and what we can do about this. So that's what I would recommend. Rather than handling this on your own, come see us, come talk to us, and let us help you. So if you're thinking that you need to change your child's school, maybe your child has been going to school in San Francisco and you've been fed up with San Francisco's lottery system and you're fed up with the schools. I know a lot of our clients have been fed up with San Francisco schools, and you're thinking of, moving out to the burbs, whether it's North Bay, the East Bay, getting your kid into a grade A school, grade A public school, right? We hear you. We deal with this all the time. Let us kind of figure this out and create a strategy for you. If your case is based in San Francisco, it might be a little bit of an uphill battle because these San Francisco judges They like San Francisco schools, their kids went to San Francisco schools. So let us kind of help figure this out with you and see if we can develop a strategy to really, make sure that this is the right path for you. Maybe we can negotiate a deal with your ex and your ex's attorney and get an agreement. You might have to give up something, but if at the end of the day your priority is getting your kid into that school you want, then that's what we need to focus on. If it's just switching schools in San Francisco, we don't have to worry about the judge having that bias, right? Maybe if your kid needs some extra support in school and the school your kid's in just isn't providing that, or maybe you have a young one, and the preschool is just not working out, and you want to get a better preschool. I hear you. I've been through that. Come talk to us. Let us help you. Oftentimes, if you're just negotiating with your ex, you're unable to really reach agreements. Let us kind of up level this and take this off your hands. If this does get escalated to a court and you want a judge to decide what school is best for your kid because for whatever reason the other processes and resources in place aren't working, yeah, a judge is going to look at your case and decide what school's in your child's best interest, right? The judge is going to look at, where is your kid right now? How is your kid doing in school? What are the reports that the teachers have written about how your kid's doing in school? What's the attendance record? How's that going? If you have an ex that's been unable to get your kid to school on time every day, that's a huge deal to a judge, right? You and I, we might think, oh, they're just late for a few days or they're just late all the time, but your kid's doing fine. I've seen a judge take that so seriously, and actually, minimize that parent's parenting time with the kid if they can't get this kid to school on time every day. And that could be kind of grounds for you, maybe even to move the school if it's a school that's closer to you and we can prove that your child's going to do great there. So there's so many factors that come into play. You might think, oh, this school is more expensive, it's top rated, it's an A grade school, and my kid's in a C grade school now. This is a no brainer. Unfortunately, it's not. There's a lot more factors that come into play. So it would be, most helpful for you to have a family law attorney kind of guide you through this. We need to look at the whole landscape, right? Exactly how your child is doing at the school now, how long he or she has been there, what's the history? Does he and she have a sense of community there? Are there extracurricular activities that are supporting your child that your child's enjoying? Is there a counselor there? What support systems are there if your child has special needs? And kind of look at that against what other school you're thinking of taking your child to. These financial reasons can hit us so strong and we can just think it's a no-brainer, right? This school has more resources, it's a grade A school, it's an obvious choice. The judge is going to think it's a no-brainer, but I wish it was, but it's not. It's a lot more nuanced than that. So let us help you and guide you through this process and look at the factors with you to decide, to really figure out a strategy that's going to be successful for you to change your child's school if that's your goal. If you have a really difficult teenager and you are just at a loss of what to do, and your teenager is acting up at home, maybe starting to abuse substances, maybe not making it to class, and you just cannot control your teenager. You might have started looking into these therapeutic boarding schools for your teenager. We have helped a few clients get their kid into a therapeutic boarding school. Usually these are out of state, right? There's not as good of ones in California. There's some pretty good ones in Colorado. I would suggest you meet with an educational consultant who we can sync you up with to kind of help you figure out what school is best for your kid. This is a tough process, right? If you're already divorced or you're going through a divorce and your teenager's not behaving that great, I'm sure you feel for your teenager and you feel kind of responsible, right? But, this is something you need to take really seriously, right? Because once your kid's 18, they can make any decision they want, right? And you kind of have this golden opportunity before they hit 18 to kind of get them the help they need and figure their stuff out and start doing better in school and stop acting up. So this can be a time when it's really hard for parents, especially if they're no longer together, to reach agreements as to what's best for their kid. We have experience with this. Let us help you. If you're thinking your kid needs to be taken out of state for a little bit to sort him or herself out, no judgment here. We've helped clients with that before, but let's figure out the best way of achieving that. If you're sharing custody with your ex and you both kind of have had the opportunity to, you know, try to set your kids straight and set boundaries and be more of a disciplinarian, and you haven't had any luck, the judge might say, if you've had maybe more primary time with the kid, the judge might flip it around and say, give the other parent a chance to see if he or she can, take care of this teenager before we send this teenager off to a therapeutic boarding school. So get ready for that. Even if you think your ex is not parent of the year, he or she might be, might get a chance to kind of take care of your kid if he or she wants to before we try the therapeutic boarding school. But if that is the solution, that's okay too. We just need to get all our ducks in a row first. We need to make sure we have communication from the counselors and the therapists and whoever is going to be running that program, because a big issue with parents that are no longer together is how you guys communicate, right? And when you're communicating about these really triggering, tough topics, like a really troubled teenager, that can be something that can be really hard, right? So often, family therapy can also be really helpful. There are so many resources for families like yours to help you and your teenager figure this out. And if it means taking your teenager to a different state for some really high quality care, that's okay, and we'll help you figure that out. But it can be complicated, and you do need a really experienced family law attorney who's been through this before to kind of help you navigate it, walk you through it, and help get your teenager the help she or he needs.